and welcome hardworking aspirants to the class of Indus Valley Civilization. That's what we are going to discuss today, guys. And along with that, we'll be seeing the map in detail, and we'll be seeing the seals, the motifs in the seals, the terracotta figurines, and the other archaeological excavations that have been done and that have been provided to us. This figure here, this lady was asked this year also in the exams of UPSC CSE Prelims 2025. But before we go to our topic, this is very important for you. Right now we are running a mentorship program for UPSC, TSPSC, APPSC, along with that TSPSC Group 1 and Group 2, and guys, UPSC CSE 2026-27 batch is available. Why should you join now? There is a discount of 50% and you'll get the mentorship guidance by Deepika ma'am. Well, the batches are starting very soon, so you should not delay. So let's get started, guys. First thing first, you must know that along with Indus Valley civilization, there were other civilizations also in the world which were surviving at that time. If you see, there was Chinese civilization here, and there will be one thing very common. Okay, all the civilizations will be having a prominent river. Okay, so the Chinese civilization will have the Yellow River. The Yellow River is also called, guys, Hwang Ho. Okay, so Hwang Ho is the Yellow River. Indus Valley civilization, obviously, which river was there? Indus River was there. Then you will have Mesopotamian civilization that you are seeing here. And what are the rivers? Guys, it's Tigris, and you should remember the names. Euphrates. And beside Mesopotamian, you will find Egyptian civilization and the river, the very famous Nile River. Okay, so that was about the civilizations that were there, and this map here is saying to us that there were trade relationship between Indus Valley civilization and the Mesopotamian civilization as well as the Egyptian civilization. Okay, so let's now come to the map and let's see some of the very important parts of Indus Valley civilization. First and foremost, you must know that there were more than 100 sites. Okay, and still the numbers are increasing only, it's not decreasing. And the area which it covered was, guys, 1.5 million square kilometer. If you want to have an idea, the area of India, almost half of the area of India today, that's 1.5 million square kilometer. Okay, now the first site that was excavated was in 1921, and that was Harappa. Okay, and there is a reason why it was called Harappa, and it was excavated by whom, guys? It was excavated by Dayaram Sahni. That was the individual. Please note down the name, Dayaram Sahni. And he did not wanted to name his own to the site. That's why Harappa. Also because the neighboring places there were known as Harappa, and coincidentally in Rig Veda there is a place named as Harappa. Okay, it is mentioned in the Rig Veda. So maybe that's why the name somewhere or the other has been changed to Harappa, and that is what was talked about. Now, Dayaram Sahni in 1921, when excavated it, it was told to be known as the Harappan civilization because the first site, okay, along with Indus Valley civilization, we also call it as the Harappan civilization. Also, it was mentioned by John Marshall then. Okay. Now, along with that, let's see this Indus Valley civilization. Actually, this Indus River, if you can see the Indus River, that's very important. Here is the Indus River. Okay, if it is visible, the Indus river, and along the Indus river, if you'll see, there are four main sites that if you can see: Mohenjo-daro here, then you have Kot Dizi, then you have Chanudaro, and then you have this Alandin. Okay, and Harappa is here. If you see guys, Harappa, and Harappa is beside which river? Ravi river. Okay, the Ravi river as is visible here. Now this Indus Valley civilization had extensions. What were the extensions of this Indus Valley civilization? When you see the topmost point, okay, that's here, that's in Manda in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, that is the northernmost point you can say. And then when you see the southernmost side guys, that's Daimabad in Maharashtra. Somewhere here it will be Daimabad in Maharashtra. Now when you see the eastern and westernmost side, the easternmost side is Alamgirpur. Okay, it's in UP somewhere here, Alamgirpur. And the westernmost side guys, obviously it's very visible here, if you can see, Sukta Jendor. Okay, this is Sukta Jendor. Okay, and that's obviously now not in India, it's in Balochistan, that's part of Pakistan. Okay, so this is the northern, the southern, the eastern and the westernmost sides that we have seen. Okay, now let's come back and let's see some of the other points related to the origin of Indus Valley civilization. You must remember that Indus Valley civilization has its tributaries, and the tributaries should be known by you, like the Jhelum, the Chenab, the Ravi, the Bias and the Satluj, and that comprises this. And if you see, if it is visible to you, here you see Ghagra and Hakra. Okay, these rivers, this zone had a lot of settlement here because of these rivers. Okay, maybe the fertility of the land and all those things would have been the reason for it. And if you see the sites of Kalibangan, okay, and Banavali, okay, the part in Haryana, in there we had a lot many settlements. Okay, lot of settlement was there. Major sites that we have seen till now were Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Dholavira, Kalibangan, Lothal and Rakhigiri. Okay, and others also. And let's see the time period guys. The mature phase is 2500 BC to 1750. The pre-Harappan phase is obviously before 2500 BC, and the late Harappan is 1750 to 1300 BC. Now, what is the origin theory? There are two theories. One is indigenous theory. The indigenous theory suggests that from the cultures like Mehergarh, okay, that's in Balochistan today, this has been slowly and gradually developed. That's the indigenous theory. The foreign origin theory says guys that there must have been migrations from Mesopotamia or the other civilizations, but now that is largely rejected. Why? Because there is strong archaeological continuity in the region. Okay, if someone would have traveled from Mesopotamia to here, then you might have seen discontinuity, but there is a continuity. So what we can say? We can say that it was developed from the earlier cultures like Mehergarh and etc. So, okay. Along with that, the very famous thing which is of most important when we are talking about the Indus Valley civilization is the town planning guys. The town planning was very excellent because the city was, or the place was divided into two parts. One was high raised and the other was low. The high raised or the citadel or the upper town, that was the western side, and the eastern side was the side where the residential area was there. The streets, if you can see, these were cutting each other at right angle. Okay, proper roads, proper drainage system, properly, if you'll see at all the places, the houses that were made of big burnt bricks. Okay, that was quite very rare. Other civilization at that time were not using the burnt bricks. So that is also an important feature of Indus Valley civilization. This is a sort of a display that has been tried to create to make you understand how the Indus Valley civilization was at that time. And if you see one more thing which you should find here, you are seeing some large building here. Okay, these were non-residential buildings and that were made for granaries, for other purposes, okay, for the public purposes. And if you see the depiction here, it is showing you the burnt bricks that were used to make these houses. And obviously it was marvel at that time. And this is again very interesting. Few years back, okay, in the places where this drainage system still exists, it's now in Pakistan, there was flood, and in this area within 12 hours still this drainage system is working and the water was cleared within 12 hours. So that was the marvel that they created at that time, that this drainage system, along with the drainage system you had these soak pits, you know, along the main roads they were there, and houses had individual bathrooms and toilets connected to the drainage system. That's something to be wow. Okay, the water management unique feature, Dholavira, world's earliest water conservation system is found there. The reservoirs, dams and check dams were built there. Public and private well in cities, like 700 wells in Mohenjo-daro alone could have been found. Public building and structures, when we talk about, guys, in Mohenjo-daro we see the Great Bath. When we are not completely sure whether it was used for some ritual, for religious purpose or for the community purpose, but we are sure that it was a public water tank, and it must have been used for some community purpose together. Then the granaries have been found in Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and other places also, obviously used for food storage. Assembly halls, wells and market areas found in several cities. Along with that, when we talk about the residential architecture, we have talked that it was made with the baked bricks, and the presence of windows, ventilation and private wells in the houses made it look very special. When we are talking of that time, that is the most special part here that we should understand. Okay, these are few of the pics that you can see. This gentleman here, this is a pic of a priest. Okay, this is a robe that he is wearing, the designer robe. You can see it has a design on it. He's having beard also. This was made of steatite, guys. Steatite was also used to make the seals. Okay, and steatite was also used to make this sort of sculpture, this sort of idols. Okay, and at the top, if you see, guys, you are seeing some seals. Okay, why steatite was used for making the seals? Steatite was soft stone. Okay, most of it it has the talc. Okay, the talcum powder, if you might know it, like the powders in Johnson's Baby and others, that talc was present in steatite, which made it very soft, and that's why it was very easy to be carved in. Okay, that's why steatite was used. But not only steatite, along with steatite there were other materials also used for making the seals, like you had agate, you have chert, you have copper, silver, gold, ivory. All these were used to make the seals, and there were some features of these seals. If you can see, the seals at the top has something written over here. Okay, at the top you see the seals have something written. Okay, and then at the bottom you will have a motif, like an animal representation. Okay, and then there is one more thing. If you see below the face or the mouth of the animal, you have a feeding trough also there. You have a feeding trough. It is displaying the feeding trough. Well, unfortunately this script has not yet been deciphered, guys. Still we don't know what was written there, and we are trying to assume. But these seals obviously were used for trading purpose. Some of the seals that we have found were having hole in between. Maybe they were used like amulets. Okay, and these seals might have also been used for identity purpose. These are the conclusions that we have drawn from there. and you'll see some marvel characters, these terracotta figurines here, you can see them. Okay, and these pots, having extensive art done over here. And now let's talk about one specific seal that I wanted to talk to you, and that seal here is the seal which is called Proto Shiva or the Pasupati seal. If you see the headgear here, if it is possible for you to see the headgear, it is like a trishul. Okay, it's like a trishul. That's why it is said that this individual who is sitting, he is sitting also in like a yogi posture. If you see, like he is doing yoga. Unfortunately this is broken from here, but just from your imagination try to just build it up. So at the bottom, if you see guys, at the bottom you are seeing there are two deer. Okay, one deer is here also which is missing. Okay, and there are two deer. At the top, if you see this side, you are seeing there is a tiger, and just above the tiger, this is the tiger here, just above the tiger, this is the elephant here. Okay, and at the opposite side, if you try to see guys, you will see a rhino here at the top, and here you see a buffalo at the bottom. So this is displaying that this individual, this yogi who is sitting, he is sitting along with these many animals, and that is why this seal is called as Pasupati seal. There is something engraved at the top also, but we don't know what is engraved at the top. But we understand one thing, that maybe the thing at the top was written for the ones who can understand, but these motifs, these images, these animals picturization, all this must have been used for the people who don't know what's written, but they can see the image and understand. Okay, along with that guys, one more important thing related to these seals we'll discuss. But let's see some of the part of Harappa. Harappa guys, it's in modern day Pakistan on the banks of river Ravi. First site obviously we have discussed, that's why it was the first site, that's why we called Indus Valley civilization as Harappan civilization also. Now Dayaram Sahni was an individual and gave the entire civilization its name. The key features were the granaries, the citadel and the residential areas. Seals with animal motifs and script cemetery as sculpture was found in later phases. Okay. The next is Mohenjo-daro, location Sindh, Pakistan on the banks of Indus River. The significance, one of the most well planned cities that we have seen till now. It was excavated in 1922, and by whom? It was excavated guys by R.D. Banerjee. Mohenjo-daro actually means what? It means mound of dead. Many dead were found there. That's why it was known as Mohenjo-daro. We have most of the things that we have found is found from Mohenjo-daro. Like we have the great bath, like we have the great granary, we have the Pasupati seal that you have seen, it's from Mohenjo-daro. The dancing girl that you have seen is from Mohenjo-daro. The priest king that you saw, okay, that is also from Mohenjo-daro. So all those were from Mohenjo-daro. So that is why it's very important. And one thing more related to the priest king, if we can find priest king again. Where is the priest king? Yes, here. This priest king that we are talking about, that was found in Mohenjo-daro guys, it was in India, but while the Simla agreement in 1972, it was given to Pakistan. So you must know this fact. It might be asked, so you should be aware with that. Okay. Now let's get ahead and let's see Kalibangan. Kalibangan location is Rajasthan, India on the banks of Ghaggar river. Significance important for early and mature Harappan phases. We have found fire altars here that suggested ritualistic practices, plough field, earliest evidence of agriculture, and no drainage system as seen in Mohenjo-daro as in Kalibangan. Now Dholavira, the location is in Gujarat, India. Kutch desert on Khadir Island, that's very important. It was excavated by J.P. Joshi in 1989. Best preserved water management system that we can see and found was in Dholavira. one of the first in the world, we can say, water reservoirs, stone architecture and inscriptions, divided into citadel, middle town and lower town, and last stadium like structure is also found there. That is very important. Lastly, we are seeing Lothal. The location is in Gujarat, India, near the Gulf of Khambat. It was excavated by S.R. Rao. Important for trade and maritime activities. Dockyard, possibly the world's earliest known. Okay, the first, you can say, the dockyard that was in Lothal. Evidence of Indo and Mesopotamian trade. We can see fire altars and warehouse were also there. So that was the point for Lothal, guys. Now, what was the society of Indus Valley civilization? Urbanized society. We have seen the planned society. We have seen there was an upper half that was known as the citadel and the lower town, but no evidence of rigid caste system. That is very important. When the Europeans, when the Britishers, when the people talk about the caste system, we see it's not evident from the very beginning. It came a bit more later, and in any ways it was not on the basis of birth, rather it was on the basis of work what you were doing. Anyways, that's for another day for us to discuss. Absence of palaces or temples suggests egalitarian social structure. Again, please remember there were no temples found. Occupation, agriculture, wheat, barley, cotton, that's what was their trade, both internal and with Mesopotamia they were doing. And please understand what were they importing. In this valley civilization, people were importing gold and silver. And what were they exporting, guys? This Indus Valley civilization people, what they had to export, they had stones, okay, semi-precious stones or the precious stones. Then they had these metals. Then they had the food grains, and they also had cells and all those things. Okay, so that was being exported. So this is something which you should remember. That's so important. And with that, the dress and ornament at that time, men had this robes, shawls, women had skirts, jewelry. Okay, if you see this picture that we were seeing, actually he is wearing a robe like this. This sort of a robe is being worn by him. And people also used to have a lot of jewelry. Okay, a lot of jewelry was used by them. And if you see this also at the bottom, recreation of clothing from female figurine. So this is the skirt type clothing you can see that was used by them. Okay, what was the food and the diet at that time that we're having? Wheat, barley, milk, vegetable, fish and meat, etc. Animal domestication included cattle, buffalo, sheep, goats. Normally you'll see we are not finding any instance of any cow being said here. Use of cooking utensils and storage jars was also very common here. Okay, now there is one thing more which I like to have you remember. This seal that you are seeing, guys, this is a humpless bull. Okay, this also called a unicorn. Okay, whatever you want to call it. This was found most when we talk about the seals in Mohenjo-daro. Almost 60 to 70 seals were of this particular image. Okay, this particular one has been found to be most in number in Mohenjo-daro itself, almost 60 to 70%. Okay, some people call it a unicorn seal or the humpless or the hump bull seal. Okay, so that is what you must remember when we will talk about the seals. There is something more to the seals that you should also remember. The rectangular, the square seals that we have seen, the square seals had something written at the top, and then you have a figure. Okay, there is a figure. But in the rectangular seals, you will not see, there is no motif, there is no image, there is no figure. Rather, only it is written. All the rectangular seals that you will see, guys, there is something written in it. But when you see these seals, these square seals, when you are seeing, guys, the square seals are having the motifs as well as something is written over there. Unfortunately, again, it is not deciphered, so we don't know. The religion, obviously, there was no temple. Religious belief centered around figurine and natural worship. Okay, please remember this, there was nature worship. How come we say that? Worship of mother goddess, we have seen the idols there of fertility. Pasupati, that is the proto Shiva figure, was found by us. Then there were sacred animals like the bull, unicorn, trees where the like people, and symbols like swastik, that was also found. If you can see here guys, this proto Shiva or the Pasupati that we were saying, that's also evident. So no evidence of idol worship like later Hinduism was there. But along with that, you should please write or remember that the animals that were used in this seals, what were the animals? Number one, that we have talked, hump bull. Okay, along with the hump bull, the animals which we saw were the rhino, we saw tiger, we also saw elephant, we saw buffalo. Along with buffalo, we saw, if you remember, bison, then goat, then hare, sorry guys, then crocodile. Okay, so if you will count it, you will see that there are 9 animals, and these 9 animals were there represented in the seal. Okay, there is an assumption for the seals also, that these 9 animals had 9 different communities. There were other communities, and every community was represented by an animal. And if that was the case, then this hump bull community was the most powerful, because these seals are most evident. Okay, that's the conclusion that we can reach here. The art and craft that you will see guys, the terracotta figurine of animals, humans and toys have been found. Bronze sculptures, that is dancing girl of Mohenjo-daro, we have already seen. Pottery, redware with black geometry and floral designs have been found at that time. This is the dancing girl. If you see guys, she is in Tribhanga position, where she has moved herself or her body in 3 positions. The things which are specific here, first, you don't find any feet here, that's specific. Secondly, she is having slightly longer hands. This hands, if you can see guys, this is elongated, and legs also, if you see, it is elongated, looks like elongated. Okay, and you have these bangles here in this hand, if you see, and she's wearing something in the neck, and with that, this hand is on the hips and this hand is on the thighs, you can see. So John Marshall was the one who named it as dancing girl. Okay, and this is the seal that we are talking about guys, has been found most in Mohenjo-daro, and there are the other figures that you can see here. The technology, we have already seen that they were using advanced metallurgy, because if you have to create a bronze somewhere, that you have to use copper and tin and the other things. First use of cotton cloth in the world, please don't forget, that was in Indus Valley civilization. Potter's wheel, clink, bricks, measuring instrument, everything was there. What the world was going to discover in coming up years, it was already being used in the Indus Valley civilization. The trade and commerce we had with the Mesopotamia, Oman and Central Asia, that we have already seen. Seals were used as trade tokens and markers. Use of standardized weight, cubicle in shape. Burial practices, what was the burial practice? Mostly simple burials with grave goods. Some secondary burials and unburials were also found, and it indicated belief in life after death. That was very important. This we have already seen, it is displaying that there was a relationship, there was some trade relationship between Indus Valley civilization and Mesopotamian civilization and the Egyptian civilization as well. So we have seen guys, the urban planning, the architecture, economy of society, it was very good. And with that, we have seen this religion, art, script, technology, burial, what was very specific, we have seen all those points. And with that, we have come to a question. The question here says that with reference to the difference between the culture of Rigvedic Aryans and Indus Valley people, which of the following statements is or are correct? Rigvedic Aryans used the coat of mail and helmet in warfare, whereas the people of Indus Valley civilization did not leave any evidence of using them. And number two, it's saying Rigvedic Aryans knew gold, silver, and copper, whereas Indus Valley people knew only copper and iron. But right now we saw Indus Valley people knew about the gold and silver. So what's the right answer? The correct answer is one only. Okay, you can pause the video and see the explanation. Then which one of the following is not a Harappan site? If you have seen the maps very nicely, you'll come to know that Sogora is not, it's not a Harappan site. It's related to the Mauryan period and known for the Sogora copper plate inscription. The next question, they possessed great palaces and temples. Did Indus Valley civilization possess any palaces or temple? We have right now seen it does not. They worship both male and female deities. Yes, Proto Shiva was also there and Mother Goddess was also there. So this is correct. They employed horse-drawn chariots in warfare. We have not seen or written anything about the horse or the chariots or the war even. So number 3 looks that that's also not correct. What would be the correct answer? B2 only is the correct answer. Which one of the following ancient towns is well known for its elaborate system of water harvesting and management by building a series of dams and channelizing water into connected reservoirs? We saw it, guys, and the answer is Dholavira. Okay. And the next question, which one of the following statements about the Harappan civilization is correct? Harappan civilization was rural. The people of Harappa were the first to produce cotton. The Harappan civilization flourished in Ganga, Yamuna, Doab. The people of Harappan Peninsula had no knowledge of metallurgy. So we can see that this looks somewhere the other a correct answer, and that is the correct answer, guys. So with that, we have come to the end of this video. But again, I will say you, if you are a serious aspirant, guys, don't leave on consistency. You have to be consistent and you have to get a mentor, because this journey from aspirant to the administrative officer might take lot many months or lot many years, but it can be really very short if you have someone to guide you. I'm not saying that you go and have to go to a coaching and then only you can have it. You can approach to a senior, you can approach to someone who has some experience, and sometimes failures can teach you much more than what success can teach you. With that, we'll meet you again, guys. Take care.